A unique virus that only affects men has wiped out 99% of the male population, but the few men that remain can now enjoy a very privileged position in a world ruled by females. In 2140, men have gone extinct, and women have become the rulers, living peacefully in the perfect world they've created. A woman named Rada is awoken by her AI computer early in the morning, and she grumpily gets out of bed. After breakfast, she heads out for the day. She meets a friend, but while talking to her, gets a call from her mother. She initially tries to send it to voicemail, but the computer tells her she can't reject a call from someone with a bigger social status. Her mother, Elena, reminds her to head to the tour she has to give students, asks her to do her best for an internship in teaching, and requests her not to be sarcastic. Arriving at the bus, Rada greets her students as the bus takes them for a tour to the land of the primates, aka men. She shows her students an old video containing the history of the world. The film explains that men's greed for power brought the earth to chaos. They were aggressive and cruel. Women were oppressed and forced to become beautiful for the men. However, in April 2030, the US and North Korea had a conflict. Scientists from Pyongyang created a virus to destroy all men in the US Army. However, the virus eventually mutated and wiped out 99% of the male population. The survivors were the men who had mumps as children, which miraculously rendered them immune. The women grieved, but eventually began to create a new world. The earth healed from the disasters caused by men, and women created a perfect world without violence. The remaining men and some women traveled to the lands of the primates to form their own world. In the town of the primates, men carry on about their day. A young man named Hera trades his fidget spinner for a naughty poster and a hard drive cable. Heading home, he manages to turn on an old computer and tells his grandfather. Excited, he asks his grandfather if there is anything spicy on the computer, which his grandfather denies. He shows him a clip of a man and a woman confessing their love and wishes him the same. Later, the townspeople welcome the Baron, who tells them that his grandfather was the first to escape the town. He promises to help them all escape, stating that he has formed a plan to destroy the women. The townspeople celebrate. Rada and her students arrive at the town, where the girls insist on visiting the townspeople. Rada refuses, citing the people as dangerous and unpredictable. They eventually convince her, and they visit the area where the people are having lunch. They observe the people from afar, which riles them up because they hate being treated like zoo animals. One man flashes the girls. In return, a student flashes the men, assuming that it is some form of greeting. The men holler in excitement. The girls and Rada head back to the bus, but Rada notices a girl named Mila missing. She finds Mila nearby looking at a goose, and the two wonder what it is, since animals are forbidden in the world that the women have created. Suddenly, Hera slaughters the bird, which splatters the two girls with blood. Rada threatens to call for help, but Hera tells her they have to hide as someone comes looking for them. As they hide, Rada and Hera look at each other, and Hera instantly falls in love with her. Rada thanks him for his help after the man leaves. He suddenly kisses her, which leads her to blow her emergency whistle. The piercing noise causes Hera to fall to the ground, but Mila and Rada are captured as they try to escape. All three are brought in front of the Baron, and Hera tries to protect the girls. He promises to fight for them, and the Baron asks his biggest man to step up against Hera. They set up a slapping contest because men and Hera slaps the man as hard as he can. It doesn't do much to the beast. Next, the man tries to slap Hera, but he ducks, and the man ends up knocking the Baron unconscious. In the commotion, Hera asks the girls to run, and they're followed by a crowd of men. One man catches up to them, but Rada turns on the force field around her bus and they manage to escape. Hera runs to his grandfather's house and tells him all that happened. He hides because he knows that the Baron's men will be looking for him now, and his grandfather gives some men 2 containers of moonshine for delivery. The men take the moonshine and head out to the forest, where one of the high-tech futuristic buses is passing through. They place the containers inside the bus, and Hera emerges from one container. The passenger, Julius, threatens to blow the whistle, but Hera manages to calm him down. He asks to jump from the bus, but decides against it until they're near the city. The two resort to drinking moonshine together. Rada gets scolded by Elena for interacting with Hera. Her grandmother supports her, but this upsets her mother, who ends up walking away from both of them. Rada tells her grandmother that Hera wasn't aggressive, and he was very pretty. Her grandmother tells her that in her time, men had been very handsome, and they weren't aggressive. Julius tells Hera that he is one of the keepers of the seed, one of the few privileged men solely used for breeding in the perfect new world created by women. Drunk, Julius gives Hera his hat and asks the bus to open the door. He accidentally falls out, and Hera is brought to the city of two hills, the perfect new world of women. He puts on Julius' clothes to blend in as a new keeper of the seed, and at border control greets the guard. He is taken to the city by a beautiful woman. Rada, hanging out with her friend, thinks about why her grandmother refuses to follow their rules. Her friend tells her that olden times were horrible, with wars and violence. Just that moment, Hera arrives, but not knowing it's him, Rada refuses to look at the man, while the females around her applaud. Hera is taken to City Hall, where he is welcomed through a ceremony. He is asked to bite into an apple, after which the mother of the city, Hera, bites from the same apple. The women know him as Julius, so he keeps up the facade. He's later shown to the men's living quarters and marvels at the luxury. However, he insists that he's ready to work and is taken to a lab where his seed is extracted, to his dismay, using a machine. Probably still an upgrade from whatever he was doing in the monkey land. Thinking about Rada, he enjoys the process. Meanwhile, Rada thinks of Hera and takes care of her own needs. On the other hand, Julius shows up at the primitive town and begs for water before fainting. Julius wakes up the next morning and finds a personal ring on his finger. The men are given massages, and he introduces himself to the other men. Hera lies that he's from the city of 3 mountains. Clever. While getting the massage, Hera gets a little too excited and leaves the room to take care of business himself. However, when he and Sir Dicolas get the job done, alarms go off all over the city, and he's caught by the women. Rada joins a meeting, where she worries that she will get a heavy fine due to Hera's kiss. Her friend reassures her that she won't be punished heavily. Meanwhile, Hera and the men are reprimanded by the woman running the donation bank, who compares his actions to those of Hitler. Little extreme comparison, but you see the logic. The group is taken to apologize to the Mother of the Earth, Greta Thunberg. Really, Greta? Whatever happened to Beyoncé? Hera's grandfather approaches Julius and tells him that if he helps him, the favor will be returned. Julius is taken in front of the Baron for questioning about Hera's disappearance, but he denies having anyone else on the bus. As a threat, the Baron breaks his finger. Hera's grandfather tells the Baron that he messed up the barrels, which the Baron accepts. Baron's men then force Julius to strip to embarrass him, but he turns out to be pretty well endowed, and the embarrassment backfires. Rada's decision to take the girls to see the primates is discussed. While Hera demands punishment for her, Elena states that everything turned out well, which the judge agrees with. The judge calls for a break. Meanwhile, the men are led to Hera, and Hera notices that the men aren't allowed to do anything without order or explicit permission in this city. He tells the others that they deserve some freedom and shouldn't be forced to follow the rules all the time. Hera speaks to Elena, asking if she thinks her daughter Mila is to blame. Elena, knowing that disagreeing would cause trouble, states in court that while everything turned out well, it was a dangerous thing to do. Rada is shocked at her mother, but decides to defend herself. Addressing Mila, she asks her if she was the one who asked to visit the primates. She demands to have Mila swear on the apple. Hera swears on the apple in place of Mila. Knowing that she's lying, Rada then has the bus AI play the video from the surveillance, which shows Mila clearly requesting to go to the primate town. Next, the men reach the statue of Greta and begin apologizing. However, Hera asks some of the men to go swimming and apologize later. Despite being unsure, the men agree. Julius is given a haircut by the town barber, and one of the women in the town bandages his finger. The woman begins to caress his thighs and makes advances at him. The Baron warns the husband of the woman. Initially, the man does not take it seriously. The Baron manages to convince the man that he could lose his wife, and the man challenges Julius to a slap contest. The seed keepers head to a nearby river, where the men notice Hera's hairy legs. The men state that they have no food to have a picnic. Hera tells them that the river is full of food and they will catch and roast some. The men question him, and he takes out a lighter, which intrigues the men since it is a forbidden item. Hera is afraid that he's blown his cover, but the men start believing that he's just the coolest keeper of the seed. It's part of his persona. Next, the women watch the footage and see that Rada wasn't lying. The judge forgives the incident. Rada's friend reveals to everyone at the hearing that Rada was kissed by Hera, which causes Rada to get punished with 80 hours of public work. Her friend gets 20 social points for consciousness, which was her motivation for this act, since this society runs on a social credit system. In the primitive town, the men prepare to have a slap contest, but Julius doesn't know what a slap is. The man hits him, causing him to fall over. To everyone's surprise, he gets back up and hits the man so hard that he becomes unconscious. The Baron is shocked. The seed keepers enjoy cooked meat and a bonfire. However, the smoke causes the fire alarm to go off, and they are caught. They're reprimanded again and told that they will be taken to the Museum of Patriarchy tomorrow for retraining. Hera confesses that he is a primate to the others, but the men don't care, and they tell him that this is their favorite day here so far. Hera tries to make a cocktail, but the motion sets off the alarms again. He learns that the ring on their finger can tell when they please themselves, so they should use their other hand. The men go to test out his theory. The next morning, the men are given a spa day, and Hera's helper is switched. When he turns around, it turns out to be Rada, who accidentally spills a mask all over him in shock. He falls over but says that nothing was broken. She recognizes him, and he tells her that he is now a keeper of the seed. He is happy to see her, but noticing her shocked expression, he decides not to say anything. He pretends to have hurt his ankle and leaves the room to get first aid. The Baron and his men head to a nearby abandoned department store alongside Julius. They plan to finish Julius off because the Baron is suspicious of him and believes that he is a spy. The Baron's men are willing to end Julius as they believe he is a threat to them. The 4 rebel seed keepers are taken to the Museum of Patriarchy, where they're shown that women were subjected to torture before coming into power. During the tour, Rada is there as well, and she threatens to expose Hera's secret. He tells her to leave him alone. Rada discusses this with her grandmother. Her grandmother tells her that it is up to her if she wants to confess, however, her secret is safe here. On the other hand, Julius ends up being good at scavenging and collecting rare food items. The presentation for the rebels continues, and they're told that lust is wrong. The men are told that women are the superior species, and men should submit to them. Once home, Hera convinces the men that lust is not wrong, and that they are allowed to have needs. The men decide that they are not wrong, and that they deserve to have some freedom. The primitive group is attacked by a rival group who believe that alcohol is the root of all problems. However, Julius fights off the enemy group, which impresses the primitive people, and they take him as one of their own. Rada is approached by a rebel seed keeper who asks her to strip. She refuses, and he forcefully tries to undress her. Hera stops him and saves Rada. He finally tells her his name, thinking that she would be with him now. Instead of being thankful, she threatens him again, saying he should escape the city, or she will call the police. Next, Vera turns out to be a double agent, as she shares an intimate moment with the Baron. He tells her all about Julius in his camp. Meanwhile, scared for his life, Hera tries to escape the city, but finds himself locked within the force field, as Rada walks back to her house, completely unbothered. The No Man's Zone is a Russian TV series that first started in 2022 and has since run for 2 seasons, with its 3rd season set to release in 2024. The show has been praised by audiences for its unique futuristic, utopian sci-fi setup, relatable characters, and the clever manner in which it incorporates humor into its plot and keeps audiences entertained. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.